Welcome back to another episode of NewOrleans.Football, brought to you by PJ's Coffee, coming to you from the Ochsner Health Podcast Studio here in Irvine, California. We got a great show for you guys today. We're going to break down the first day of paddock practice, kind of the first day of real football that we've seen out here. And we're going to get into all the guys that stood out, that didn't stand out, that we wanted to see, that we didn't see, all that stuff, and so much more after this quick word from our great sponsors. Ochsner Health inspires healthier lives and stronger communities through a combination of standard-setting expertise, quality, and connection not found anywhere else in the region. To learn more about how Ochsner empowers people to get well and stay well, visit ochsner.org. Long live you. The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. Time for a new watch? Go check out Friend & Company Fine Jewelers' wide array of Breitling watches at their showroom on Maple Street. They have every type of watch that you want, and they can get you right for any type of occasion. And while you're there, check out their engagement salon. They'll make sure you find the perfect ring for that special someone. Their experienced staff offer 5-star customer care to help you find the perfect watch, ring, or whatever else you're looking to buy. Visit them today. Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, 7713 Maple Street between Adams and Burdett. 504-866-5433, or visit them at friendandcompany.com. Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. Their agents are born and raised in the area and understand our community's unique needs and the homeowners insurance crisis our residents are currently in. At Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. They know your time is valuable, which is why they work diligently to provide you with the quotes as soon as possible. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. When we couldn't find someone to insure our house because of the big oak tree growing over top, Chabert worked until they found someone that would work with us and give us the protection that we need to feel safe in our new home. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Chabert. That's 504-326-6526. Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hardhide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Ponchatoula strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. NewOrleans.Football is proud to be sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Make sure you check out their location on Veterans Boulevard. All right, let's get into the show. Welcome back to the Ochsner Health Podcast Studio here in Irvine, California. It is now time for the lead presented by Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. Friend & Company Fine Jewelers are the official jewelers of the New Orleans Saints, and Friend & Company Fine Jewelers should be the official home of your next Breitling watch. Make sure you go down there and check them out, get what you need, and if you're in the market for a car to get there, make sure you check out my guy, Matt Bowers. He has great cars, great dealerships all over the region, great customer care, great pricing. He'll get you the best car buying experience that you can have.
Let's get into the lead topic. Which player stood out on the first day of pads? Look, this is the first day of real ball. Real ball. Because we got to hear the pads clacking. It wasn't too much to gain off of it just because it was a little sample and a little taste just because it was one day, but we got to see some good things. What stood out today?
I mean, it was the first real exercise of football. But, I mean, I think starting at the top of the list, the thing that stood out the most, I mean, it was absolutely seeing Chase Young out there in team drills for the first time since he's been on the team. DA talked about it after practice, said that he's ahead of schedule, that he's really attacked his rehab. The training staff did a really good job with him, got him back out on the field. So, I mean, that's a huge thing for him. And then just he goes out there and we've kind of seen it in off to the side, like the size, speed, explosiveness, ability kind of stands out, even in a group of big, strong men. Like he's a giant. And then he gets out there and he puts Landon Young on skates. Very, very first play, drives him back into Jay Kaner. Peyton Turner's able to get a sack off the other side because of it. I mean, he just he looked great. So I mean, that's number one. Huge thing for them. Like if he plays and he gets going.
I did not anticipate we'd be talking about Chase Young in full team drills.
No, neither did I.
Right in the first week of practice.
But I think we can take that if word like out of this at this point. Like that's gone. Like we already knew that. Kind of seeing him out there, but him being out there in this, like it's no longer like a theory. Is he going to be ready? No, he's going to be ready. He's going to play. How good is he going to be when he gets out there? First glimpse, I mean, pretty good. I don't think you could have asked for a better. Like, oh wow, Chase Young's out there. Oh wow, like Chase Young's like. Just he's dominating a second team guy, which is what you want to see.
Yeah, everything we're hearing about him. I mean, every time anyone talks about him, DA or Mickey Loomis, they said they loved the mentality they got with him this year. Like they got him at the right time in his career, the chip on his shoulder stage of his career, the work ethic, the mindset, the attacking, everything he's been doing behind closed doors. Just sounds like all pluses. Now, none of that means anything. To guarantee him finally having the consistency that he hasn't had in his career. But it's everything you want to hear, everything you want to see. Up until this point, I mean, I think first day of pads is the day we said we wanted to go out there and make a judgment on Trevor Penning and Tali Fuaga, the new offensive tackles, and just the offensive line and the run game in general. I think it was harder to get an impression from those guys. We're going to talk to Fuaga tomorrow. We talked to Penning today. And at the very least, he was saying, like, I talked to him to the side afterward, and he was saying, like, the difference between this week and the spring was already a big difference for him. And he's not all the way there yet, obviously. He might never get all the way there yet, but I think you're seeing progress each time there's a stage, which is really all you can ask for. We're not asking for miracles with that guy. Yeah. We just hope it keeps trending in the right direction, he said. It's funny, he probably has information overload. Like he said, he's talked to Ron Armstead a lot because they work out together in Dallas, and he's been a little bit of a mentor to him. He said he went back home and former Northern Iowa player who was a NFL defensive standout, Bryce Paup, gave him advice. Everybody's giving this guy advice. But he said the one takeaway for him is just, try not to dwell on any of that stuff and just go out and play football. And at least he's been healthy enough to do that all offseason. So jury's still out on him, but he seemed a little positive with day one in pads at the very least.
Yeah,
I thought from Penning, I thought it was more good than bad on day one. We'll see where it goes from here. I thought Fuaga looked pretty good. But yeah, I think Trevor's starting off at a fairly okay point. You want a spot where you see some decent things, and I saw some decent things from him right away. The big thing with him that I noticed is just. Like, if he gets his hand in somebody, like, they stop. Yeah. He's a big, huge, physical dude. If he gets a hand on someone, like, they aren't going anywhere. And you kind of see, like, a willingness to kind of do that a little bit more. Whereas, like, before, I think every time I looked at him, he was trying to put somebody in the morgue. And you don't have to do that. Like, you can just redirect traffic a little bit. And it seems like there's a willingness to do that. We'll see how he builds on it. There was... 9 first team snaps today, like, so it's a very, 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 very small sample, but I saw a couple good plays. I saw a play or two that I thought weren't great either. I mean, I think that's just, like I've said it before, I think that's the story of Trevor Penning. It's 2 steps forward, hopefully it's not 2 back, hopefully it's not 3 back, hopefully it's 1 back and then 2 the next day, and then you just keep going more forward than backward. But I think there's going to be some backwards along the way, so we'll see how it builds. I felt okay today, though. I didn't feel alarmed today.
That's interesting, though. I think, again, everybody has a theory with Trevor Penning, but Alex Boone, who trained him earlier this offseason, a longtime NFL player, and he talked about other big guys like Jordan Mailata, like who took a while to develop and became a great one in Philadelphia. Orlando Brown was another one. He said, no, make them have to go around you because you're so big and you're so strong. Yeah. Like, they have to figure out a way around you because if they run into you, they're dead. And Trevor Penning has made it easy on guys so long by he's the one who's like lunging and getting off balance. And then they're like, oh, cool, now I can get past you. And so if he does figure out a way to be like, you have to get past me and have that confidence to carry himself that way, I think that could go a long way.
It could go a huge way. I mean, this dude is a giant. Like, you could just get in the way. Like, just don't make it. Because, like, when you're swinging, like, it puts you at a disadvantage almost. If you miss. And
you get off balance with that big body.
Like, you want him to attack, but, like, attack the right way, under control and all that stuff. And I think it was just kind of, like, too much going in. Like, and if you have a plan for what to do, I think you can kind of execute it. And it feels like we're seeing little signs of that. But again, it's such a small sample to today's day one of pads. Yeah. I thought I got maybe a little bit too up after the first day of OTAs. We've seen him and he looked okay. So I kind of want to let it play out a little bit. But I felt okay. Well, I didn't walk off the field like, you know what I mean? So I think it was a fair starting spot.
I will also say Nick Saldivari is the other guy trying to prove himself in a new role on the offensive line, and the arrow's not pointing great for him because he left early with an injury today after he had already opened the door for Lucas Patrick to be a 50-50 competition there. So Lucas Patrick or Nick Saldivari has a lot of catching up to do, even more than Trevor Penning right now, I think.
Going back to Penning, I thought earlier, like when we saw him in those team drills, I was like, man, if there was an alternate world where he was a 5th-round pick instead of a 1st, where he could have time to hone that size and develop himself into an NFL caliber tackle without the pressure and without all of the expectations that come along with that, I think it would be a way really better spot. But we live in reality where he was picked. They traded up to, get him and stuff like that. So he has to kind of turn that around quicker. And he's on the right side now. Like Nick said, it's too small of a sample size to really see like, too much or this is bad. But he wasn't terrible today.
It's an interesting point though, because I almost feel like they've moved beyond the draft status at this point. He's lost his job, got benched for a whole year. He lost his position. He got flipped to the other side. They drafted a replacement essentially at left tackle in the first round. So maybe he is in that spot where you can develop a little bit. The problem for him though is that the development period's it's kind of over now at this point, because if he
put up or shut up.
If he doesn't win the job now, like we've talked about this before, like this could be the beginning of the end for him. I think it is the beginning of the end for him, and I think it's like kind of up to him to stop it from careening off the cliff at this point. So, but I mean, I do feel like expectations have been lowered. I don't think anybody's looking at him now like, can he be an All-Pro? It's like, can he be fine? Like, Can we put him out there? Can we put him out there and like sleep at night and be okay with it? I think
take Brandon's example to the extreme. I mean, someone like Landon Young gets a free pass. Like he got cooked by Chase Young today, and it's like, well, we never had any expectations for Landon Young. So cool. If he works out and he's any good. If he's not, but like we just let him fail in anonymity. Like if he ever has a bad practice.
That's probably what Trevor deserves.
If Penning got cooked like that by Chase Young today, we'd all be in a panic right now.
It would probably be, I mean, that would probably be more beneficial to Trevor, but he did get.
We live in reality.
He did get drafted in the first round. He does matter. He's supposed to be a solution, and we'll see if he is.
For sure. Another thing that I don't want to get lost in here is that, we've been talking about the linebackers, mainly you, really, on how good Pete Werner has looked these past couple of practices. They kept it up today when the pads came on. Pete, he had a good play on run stuff, and the linebackers just all over the field. When the linebackers all over the field, when Michael Hodges is out there screaming, So
I need to try to have a Hodges filter, because if I just listen to him, I'm going to think the linebackers are 3 All-Pros like across the board.
It's DeMario.
He's hard on him too.
But it's DeMario too. DeMario's on the side. Good job. Everybody up and down the defense, they're encouraging each other and keeping everything going.
That position's been great.
Oh yeah, for sure. But pads were on, and it wasn't just on the line. We talked enough about the line. Let's get outside of that and on the physicality that one-on-ones today. That'll get into our next segment presented by Shabir Insurance, the Earhart Agency. We got to see the DBs and the wide receivers go at it. And look, Tipton's name has been spoken on this podcast a couple times in the past couple of days. But today, when the pads came on, he showed why his name is getting spoken, because he went up against a potential starter and he showed, hey, I'm me still. So kind of break down what you've seen with Tipton and who else stood out in one-on-ones.
Yeah, we got some of the highlights playing here on the screen too. I mean, look, Tipton looked great. Like he got open deep. We know he can do that. He's really good at that. That's kind of his forte. But the one on the near sideline against Alontae Taylor, where he set him up with the speed, throttled down. Turn back real quick on a curl, but as Alontae was going up the field as Tipton was coming back, I mean it was a really good route. It was good route running. It was a good way to kind of
there we go right
it's up there right now. Kind of a great way to break off of that speed and throttle down really quick. We know he can run 2 routes well. There's 7 others that we really haven't seen a whole lot of. I think I saw him catch on a crossing route once. That was a good route. I mean, I think there's a chance this guy's an actual good player. I think there's a chance that he's an actual good player. there's a long, long way to go, but I mean, it's impressive right now. And I mean, the thing is like you saw kind of quick, you know, he was someone that I kind of had circled going into minicamp OTAs because I had heard hype on him from some of the other scouts, and I don't know if it was showing up right away there, but like he's got a grasp on this offense now, and like you just see it, and yeah, I think he's a legit player.
It's funny, Lance Moore and Willie Snead will come to mind because he's undrafted, because he's about their size and stuff like that. But those guys did not have 4.32 speed.
Completely different player.
Those guys did not have 4.32 speed. But if he can do the middle of the field stuff, then he becomes a really special player. And he speaks with a lot of confidence. We talked to him after practice today. He said, you asked him a question, what have you learned about yourself? Nothing that I didn't know already. This is what I expected.
Yeah.
Like he didn't say it in like a mean way. It was just like
he's
he's a
level
really
of
confident guy.
Yeah.
And Dennis Allen, we talk about like we've learned to decode Dennis Allen a lot. There was one player he was talking about today, and I was like, listen to how high pitched his voice got. That's a qualified response. But he will often be hard on young guys. But with Tipton, he did nothing to slow the train.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, he compared him to like the best undrafted rookie he ever coached, like Chris Harris in Denver, who went on to, I think, be a Pro Bowler and obviously one of the better nickelbacks in the league. He goes, he reminds me of him. And I'm like, all right, well, you're not letting up on the gas pedal at all with this guy.
4-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro, Chris Harris. Yeah, I mean,
obviously, when he was on the Saints.
Hall of Fame, all 2010s team. Like, of course, like DA isn't putting them in that category, but like, he was saying Chris Harris showed up and made a play every day and made you notice him, and that is what Tipton's doing at this point. Really good player. I thought Chris Olave looked great in that drill. Wasn't a great day, I don't think, for the cornerbacks. Adebo was a little, he covered well, but it wasn't great. Rajon had a good play. A.T. Perry made a couple plays, and I thought it was really important. He had one on Adebo, kind of fought his way back on it, made the play.
Yeah, they were fighting.
He needs to win as many reps as he can because he feels so far behind everybody else right now, wide receiver. I mean, it feels like he's behind Cedric Wilson. It feels like he's not made as many plays as Stanley Morgan Jr. He hasn't made as many plays as Tipton. Like
Equanimous St. Brown earlier in the spring.
Since camp, St. Brown hasn't really. I think he has one catch. I mean, he needs to hit the gas quick because he's supposed to be 3, and I don't think he's done.
I like his physicality on that rep with Adebo though, because Adebo's a physical guy.
It's going to take a lot more.
We're going to need to see more of that. Tell me about Kool-Aid McKinstry. Your thoughts on him, because if you just look at the chart, he got some wins in quotation marks because one was not a great pass by Derek Carr and the other one was a drop. Or
he won 2 or 3, but you got to drop and a missed throw. And I thought, obviously on the drop, like you got beat on the route kind of, and someone drops it, and then obviously on the deep one, Shaheed had separation and the pass just wasn't on point. A more on point pass, it's a touchdown. So. Not the best day for him, not terrible. I mean, but yeah, I mean, he was probably on the wrong end of all 3 of them.
Yeah. One thing, the job was to say what stood out today. And another thing that I had listed that stood out is these are refless one-on-ones. So there's a lot of hand jabbing. There's a lot of fighting. Some things, I mean, they had people on Twitter saying, oh, well, this is OPI. How does this count? Different things like that. But when it comes down to the strict technique and getting in there and being physical, which I kind of think this drill was supposed to show today who the dogs were, you really got to see it because people weren't giving up off the first little press or the first getting ran into. They were fighting through it and running full routes.
Who was your top dog?
Today?
Yeah.
Tipton.
Yeah.
Tipton, because you knew it was the equivalent of going up to the plate and calling you a shot. I think it was on a team period. I looked at Nick and I saw Tipton roll out. I was like, oh, well, you know what this about to be in. What happened?
Yeah. He did. He called a deep ball from Hainer to Tipton. He said 84. And he won off the line and caught like a 30-yard reception on the play. Yeah. In the one-on-ones though, like the thing is it does massively favor the wide receivers. There's no help to play to. There's no safety. You got to cover a guy for 40 yards down the field for as long as the play goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in reality, like, you're covering for a few seconds and you can play to your help. You got leverage, all that stuff. But none of that exists. So if there's like a little bit of hand checking going on, like,
cool, let it be.
Let it be. Yeah. I mean, that really is kind of what it is. But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought the offense probably had a better day than the DBs in that, but I mean, they should.
Yeah. Yeah, this pendulum continues to swing as we go through these practices because, one day the defense just looked like, hey, is the offense even on the field? Then the offense started clicking, and especially with the pads on now, you're starting to see a lot of back and forth. So that's a great thing actually to see because nobody's completely dominating the entire slate of practices. Another thing too, pads coming on. This wasn't in one-on-ones. This was in team. Last week I was talking about how Cedric Wilson was going at Kool-Aid McKinstry because he was young. Well, today, Delonte made 2 good plays. He had a PBU against Taysom. Then after that, some kind of way said, and Delonte got caught up in it. They was going at it. I like to see it.
Yeah, I don't think Delonte like being blocked as hard as it was going.
Nah. After 2 good plays like he had, he was rolling in his head.
Clean, like.
Oh no, yeah.
No, yeah,
it was a good play.
I mean, we're talking about what A.T. Perry has to do. Some receiver is going to have to be the best blocking receiver on the team. So if Cedric wants to show it like that, that might be how he shows it, right?
He ain't buck neither. Yeah, they had to come get, it wasn't nothing too much.
Wasn't a Trevor Penning block?
No. But it didn't have to come to being peeled apart. It just was like a little John. I got pads on, you got pads on. Let's see what's happening.
We want to see that.
Delonte said, "Knock if you buck," and that's kind of what happened.
You knocking, you bucking, you ready to fight. I mean, that's what it was. That's what it was. But we're gonna hit a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue to analyze day 5 of training camp. Keep it locked to NewOrleans.Football.
Total Maintenance is one of the largest locally owned home and commercial service providers in South Louisiana. They were founded in 1980 and serve the greater New Orleans and Baton Rouge markets. And Total Maintenance wants to show some love to our NOF listeners. They have a membership program that gets you 2 tune-up visits for AC and heating, as well as club membership discounts of 15% on all repairs, half off of all diagnostic charges, and 3-year warranties on most repairs for membership clients. This is usually priced at the low price of $24.95 a month per system, but if you tell Total Maintenance that you found them through NOF, they'll lower the price to $20.95 per month per system for as long as you keep the membership active. It will never increase. Total Maintenance has a tune-up special running this summer for $79, down from the normal price of $179. This is a one-time offer for one system only. They also offer a free diagnostic on second opinions on units deemed to be unrepairable, and they offer free estimates for replacements as well as commercial maintenance programs. Services include AC and heating service and replacement, electrical service, plumbing service, as well as generator service and installation. They are Total Maintenance. Find them at tm-ac.com or give them a call at 504-841-3300, or if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-480-1000.
There's nothing quite like the feeling of stepping into your dream home. At Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union, we can help make that dream a reality with a team dedicated to you. When you partner with Jefferson Financial, you do so for the life of the loan. Having a single point of contact when questions arise is invaluable. Our experts are here to guide you every step of the way. There's no better time to invest in your future. Apply online at jeffersonfinancial.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender.
Shrimp Remoulade combos are back at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company. Zesty shrimp remoulade served with fried shrimp, catfish, or soft-shell crab starting at $10.99. Or try one of our spring specials, catfish lafitte or lemon caper fish with crab meat. Now at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company.
Martin Wine and Spirits is home to a selection of hand-picked barrel select bourbon, whiskeys, and much, much more. They are family owned and operated since 1946 and specialize in wine, spirits, gourmet food, gift baskets, catering, and tasting events. They have many locations, so they're never too far away. You can check them out in Metairie, New Orleans, Mandeville, and Baton Rouge, or if it's more convenient, you can always shop online. Whether you're a wine novice or a seasoned collector, you'll enjoy the Martin Wine and Spirit experience. Welcome back to the Ochsner Health Podcast Studio in Irvine, California. And once again, if you need a new car, make sure you check out my guy, Matt Bowers, at one of his many dealerships throughout the Gulf Coast region. He has all different types of cars, but the consistent thing at every single location is the unbeatable pricing and the great customer care. So make sure you go check him out for your new or pre-owned car needs.
Matt Bowers vehicles could take you 27 hours nonstop.
They did. Matt got us out here. Yeah, Matt Sprout got us out here.
I mean, the proof is
brought
that
all the equipment, got the studio set up.
The proof
Thanks
is
for the ride,
reliable all the way.
That's right. That's right.
Start to finish.
Let's go.
That's what Bowers does,
That's
man.
the Bowers promise.
That's the Bowers way.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Let's get into our next segment presented by New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company. Mike, last week you talked about the segment you and Kevin had with a confidence index on the entire team, but let's narrow it down just to the defensive line and see where the confidence index is on these
It's the hardest position to come up with numbers. These guys are all over the map for different reasons, but I brought it back today because did Chase Young increase his number? Like, how much of it was health?
Yeah.
Like, is it possible? Carl Granderson's on this list. He's definitely the most known commodity, but he also doesn't have the ceiling that some of these other guys have.
Right.
Is it possible that you have the highest confidence in Chase Young of anyone in this position group now that he's back healthy?
Okay, so I felt like I had good info on this from start to finish, and I never really thought him not playing was a possibility. Like I knew he was going to play. I always thought he was going to be ready. Everybody always said he was going to be ready. So I think my scale on it's always kind of been like, I think the floor on him is like a 7. Like I think Chase Young at worst, 7 being like a C, right? 70%. Like at worst, I think if he plays and he's available, you're going to get 7.5 sacks out of him. Like that's just kind of what he is. He's going to go out. He's going to give you that. So I think I'm
you
still,
weren't worried about availability, really?
Not really. I mean, it was kind of.
I did worry that maybe it would be a couple weeks into training camp, a ramping up period. I do feel better about him seeing him as early as we've seen him.
Yeah, I mean that helps. But I always thought he was going to be ready for the season. Like everybody, there was never even a doubt. Like there was never like like with Juwan, and we see Juwan out there already. I kind of feel good about where he's at than before. Like. That was always the people I was talking about. Like, man, hopefully he's ready by the season. There was never like, hopefully Chase is ready by the season. It was like
he will.
No, he's going to be good to go. So I kind of, I trust people I talk to and everything. So I felt good about that. But yeah, I think with him, it's you're going to get at least 7 sacks. Like I think you're going to get at least 7 sacks. He gives you 7 sacks. I'm okay with it, especially for what he's paid. Like he's not paid to be a 40
sacks would be good.
A 14 sack guy. Like he's paid to be just kind of, that I think he's paid to be an average D end, and I think the upside on him is higher. So I think he's kind of paid for what he is, and if he goes out, he's motivated on the 1-year deal. There's the upside, and maybe it lifts up. But yeah, I think I'm going to 7 on him.
Well, when me and Kevin did this a week ago, and we had not seen him, I didn't know for sure that he wasn't going to be on the Juwan Johnson timetable. I knew he was going to be better than that, but I didn't know it was going to be as sure thing as like Kool-Aid. So I think we had Granderson slightly higher on our scale than Chase Young, but they might have flipped for me. Just seeing out there is reassuring that like there's one thing with are you healthy enough for week 1, and there's another thing, did you get the 6 weeks of practice and conditioning? And now he's going to get the full 6 weeks.
He looks
and
like he's in great shape.
He
too.
looks like he's in great shape. His number went up a little for me when they showed the pictures of him working out at the facility a few weeks ago. Yeah. They've gone up even more for me for this week. So yeah, I think he has surpassed Granderson slightly as number 1 on my list of the defensive ends on this list that I'm most confident in this year. Now, look, he comes with question marks. He came with question marks already about consistency and productivity, and this is now his 3rd different team in 2 years. So he's a 7.5 or an 8 on my confidence index, probably. Like Olave's like a 9 or a 9.5. I'm not there with Chase Young or whatever, but I think it's the highest of anyone at this position group.
Yeah, I guess like relative to expectations, like with I don't know exactly what the rating is here. Like I would give Carl Granderson a 10 on my scale.
I got you.
Because Carl Granderson's going to go out and get his 8 or 9 sacks.
I got you.
Look, we ain't in Vegas, we in California, but all the chips on the table for me. Pushing them in. I have him at 8.5 to 9.
Okay.
Yeah, Chase Young.
Chase Young, going into it, they had question marks, but there was a reason why he was taken 2nd overall. But then you start, like you said, you start seeing him out there. You see the explosiveness of him hitting the sled. You see how quick his hands are, swatting him in hand drills. You see him, those few reps he had on team, just the physical dominance and presence he had on the field. Man. If he's on and the mental thing of not trying to think about protecting his neck in a certain sense is gone, this dude can revolution. He gonna get paid. He gonna get paid if he plays like he's perceived to be able to play. Because he, like Nick said, he's there. He's there to the point where he's ahead of schedule in terms of recovery and things like that.
I don't know if this is a fair name to bring up or not, but it's just one that is in my head because of the way he looks. Because he looks like I would draft him number 1 overall if I had no other information other than watching is he needs to prove he's not Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney's gotten a ton of chances, and he's the most physically awesome specimen we've ever seen at that position. And just it never happened for him for whatever reason. Chase Young is still very young. He's still, what did he just turn this summer, I think? 25 in April.
Yeah.
And I'm more confident in that. But that's what he has to prove. He has to prove that he's more than that. Still,
my thing with Clowney though, like if I put him on my team, there's a decent chance I'm going to get 9 sacks.
Yeah,
like at the right price, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at Clowney. I'm not mad at Clowney. You might catch him in a down year, but I mean, typically, like he's got a lot of like 9 sack seasons at the right price. Like I'm fine with it. Like if Chase Young does that forever, the problem is it kind of goes back to what we were talking about on the last one. It's the branding of the draft pick and everything and where you were taken.
Yep.
And Clowney's a disappointment because he was.
I didn't realize he had 3
pick.
Pro Bowls.
Yeah, he's had
a decent.
Yeah,
he's been
I'm thinking
around,
more
but
of
he's
the
had
Clowney
a decent.
who Houston in 18, Seattle in 19, Tennessee in 20, Cleveland in 21, Baltimore in 23. Something happened along the way, but that's probably more. That's why it's not fair to lump the two. For all we know, Chase Young is fantastic, coachable guy, fantastic teammate. Like I don't know if comparisons are fair in that way. I'm thinking of the man. Does he look the part? But
Clowney feels like a bust. He really does. He really does. But he's had a lot of good seasons. He really has.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Is Clowney Brandon Cooks?
I think Cooks has had it. I don't know.
I know. Like the underrated, overrated. He's underrated.
Yeah, I don't know.
And for me too, on my scale, aesthetic, it goes into it.
Yeah.
Oh God, here we go, man.
Man, Chase, he's rolling out the New Balance cleats, black with the gold trim, looking really elite. He doesn't even care about knee pads. He's going for agility.
All right.
Slashed him off at the knee.
All right.
He looks the
like Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton wore 1s. Like it didn't change his game.
We ain't talking about 1s. We talking about making New Balance cleats look elite. That's what we talking about right now.
All right. So quickly to
Andy Dalton was like the swaggiest dude on the team.
When?
Man, we got to get DJ on here. He'll back me up on this. Andy Dalton, like, man, go look at the practice.
I remember when Andy Dalton wore that visor.
He had the sleeves on the visor. He was wearing the 1s. Yeah.
Maybe that's why
it didn't change nothing.
Maybe that's why I had more confidence in Andy Dalton than I was supposed to.
Yeah, he looked great at practice.
If you looking the part is an automatic 3 points.
All right, so here we got the group. First of all, we were talking about Cam Jordan's footwear the other day. Yeah. I got to get a hold of his slides because they looked like really comfortable slides, by the way.
Oh, the ones? I remember. Yeah.
But
whose slides?
Cam Jordan had some
really
Jordan slides. They look good. They were Jordan slides, Jumpman slides, but they also look comfortable.
Man, I got some slides that Andy was wearing. They're amazing. The man was good.
All right, so let's call the confidence index this. Let's say the rating is. What's your percentage that they're going to end up being the best defensive end on the team this year? Who Granderson versus Chase Young?
Chase Young.
I mean, if I got to put my money on someone, I'm betting on Chase because I'm chasing the win. But I'm the guy that quits a 6-figure job and starts a company to chase a win. So this is how I'm
Cam Jordan third.
Yeah.
And any chance that he's in this conversation, like. Any chance he could bounce back that much? I liked his energy. We always like his energy. Talked about losing weight.
He's
chasing. Same order. I told you Chase Young passed Granderson for me. Cam Jordan's third, but I like Cam Jordan to have a better season than he did last year. My confidence index in him is still 6.5, 7 or something like that. But first day of practice, he's the one chasing Taysom Hill 40 yards down the field, telling everybody afterward. When somebody said, "Hey, do you feel good from the surgery?" He goes, "Were you watching me out there?" Like, I mean, he is well aware that last year was a wasted season and that he only has X amount of seasons left. So, I like a mini renaissance from Cam Jordan, but certainly not like he's the third guy. I think.
So we're doing confidence level. Like I've just never seen anything from Foskey. We've been waiting too long from Turner. So Cam kind of goes to third by default.
Yeah, no question.
But if I was like just throwing random bets like on the odds, like I would probably sprinkle a little more on the other two.
Yeah, because there's
potential.
You're getting better bang for your buck.
Yeah, there's potential.
One thing when going through this that I thought about, but you reinforced when you said it in the opening segment about Chase Young, is that when Chase Young was taking on his side of the line. It opened up Peyton Turner to be able to come in and get a sack.
he did.
Huge, yeah.
That is going to allow Cam Jordan to not have all the spotlight on him and not have all the protection catered towards him because you got that beast on the other side.
Unless Cam Jordan's only playing on first and second downs because of that beast.
There's that. But it's going to allow him to.
They're still going to pass. You know, you might get a pass.
You might get a first down or a second down sack. Yeah,
and it's going to help Turner. It's going to help Foskey whenever he gets in. It's going to help them look better because they're going to get the lesser lineman because the strength is going to the other side.
You're right. Turner had a sack today, but Foskey had some flashes in the first week. Is Foskey, because Turner comes with the health question mark, is Turner still ahead of Foskey for both of you guys on a confidence index?
I'm gonna remain consistent. Like I said, I got Cam there because of the distance. Like it's been so long since we've seen anything from Peyton Turner. I'm just putting Foskey up because we've waited longer for Turner. So you know, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, we would need a medical degree to have the right confidence index in Turner. Turner stays healthy, he's my pick, but I can't bet $1 on his health.
Yeah.
If Turner stays healthy, like he has the ability to be like 2.
Yeah.
You know,
he could be better than Grant. Yeah, he's more talent, probably
if he stays
more
healthy,
ceiling.
Yeah, I've always believed in his talent. It's just been it's just been such a long wait that I don't know what I'm waiting for at this point. At some point, if the Uber doesn't come, you open the Lyft app. You know, that's just kind of what you got to do.
No question. How about the group as a whole? Do we feel any better about it? Because every one of these guys has had a good first week.
Health is going to keep me from getting too high because it has to be shown throughout a season. And they're talking about making the season longer. You know, not this year, but going forward. So health is going to be the only thing that keeps me from being higher on this group.
It's so funny. This group could be a reason for confidence or the biggest reason for we're in the team. I mean, there's so much talent in this group.
Facts.
But we also list it usually like second right behind the offensive line as a worry spot. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I can't really go too far with them yet. You know, we've been fooled too many times. There's too many questions here. Like even if they have like a good week 1, like I'm sure we'll come on here and we'll be talking they're
back, baby.
Yeah, the coronation and all that. But like there's just so many injury risks with this group. Like it's literally 4 out of 5 that I think it really needs to go a little bit. I think everyone should be holding their breath a little bit going into the season.
Plus, you're going against top lines early.
Yeah,
got to go to Dallas. Philly comes down here. You got to go.
Kansas City's coming soon.
Yeah, Kansas City, Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta's iffy, but you know you got to play top tier.
They got a good scheme in Atlanta now, though.
Yeah. Well, that's going to take us to our next segment presented by Hard High Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. Earlier when we were going through camp notes, you mentioned that Pete Werner was in contention for camp MVP at this point. Who else kind of stood out?
Early star for sure. Mason Tipton's on the list. I mean, as crazy as it seems. I can't put him in the MVP conversation, though, because I think he's just earned the opportunity to probably get better quality reps. So I'm not going there. Like beating up on the backups doesn't do it for me. I think it's Shaheed.
Okay.
I was going to stay in the same position and say Olave. He's just never done anything to take this. I think he was my OTA's minicamp MVP, and he just does it. But Shaheed is showing up. There's no question that's a good candidate.
No, those are 2 great candidates. I went a little bit, not deeper, but in terms of compared to past seasons, I threw Ruiz on the list because you're not guessing what he's able to do. He's showing what he's able to do. Plus, he's had a leadership role on the offensive line to help bring up those question marks a little bit, kind of coach them off to the side. Not completely MVP caliber through the whole camp, but just shining a little light on different people who's showing up. McKinstry, not ready to call him MVP caliber yet, but him being able to come back from that first foot surgery and not have to be like handheld throughout the drills and different things like that. That means the learning curve is very short and he's coming along quick. So I think those are 2 good options. Lucas Patrick, I mean, he's almost being given the job now because, you know, not no Salivary, but he's gone out twice in the last couple of practices. He went out at the last mini camp practice and he went out today. So he's having to step up and show what he can do. And he could possibly, if he could come in and snipe that job, sure, he'll be in contention because he came in and made a name for himself.
Yeah, I mean, good picks. And Olave's on my short list. I think he'd be next for me after Shaheed. But I mean, I got to go Shaheed just because like he's doubled everybody in catches like, in camp. Like, and it's just kind of like you want to see him doing more, and you're seeing it.
Well, Shaheed
the person
and Werner,
throwing him the ball. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say Shaheed and Werner are in the same category. They kind of, it was like hey, you're young guys that we want you to be top 10 players on this team and step up to a next level this year. So it's great to see both those guys in this conversation.
Yeah, can't be touched at practice. DA got a little nervous because Chase Young was a little too bullish getting towards him. But I think the person throwing Shaheed the ball, Derek Carr, is way too padded and protected to honestly say that he's improved in different. But
wasn't he your MVP of OTAs and minicamp too? And he's done nothing to change that. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought today was check down city, but I mean, he's been. Look, there's nothing wring with a check down though. Like, good check down's a good check down.
Ball movement is
the problem is Pete Werner's out on the field on those, and he's killing them in the flats. Like, but I thought he's looked good so far. I thought he's looked really good. I mean, he threw the pick on the first pass, and he's kind of been really solid since. So he's had a good camp. I think Haener's looked really good too. I think Haener's looked.
He
really,
was in
really
our
good.
conversation in OTAs and minicamp too, and of course, so was Taysom Hill, and he has done nothing really to.
He's kind of had a little bit of a quiet,
a little quiet, but his usage is still high. Yeah,
man is in a different.
There was a throw to him today. Alante broke it up. Yeah, I mean, let me get my thing up. Has he caught a pass?
He should have. Today or
from Carr, yeah.
He is not.
It was not a lot.
He's caught 2 passes in team drills throughout camp.
Yeah.
So
kind of quiet. Foster's ahead of him.
He went up today.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went up today. He went up today on him. Well, that'll take us to our last segment, the Martin Wine Experience question of the day. Martin's is home to a wide selection of hand-picked Brown Select bourbon, whiskeys, and more. Martin's, so much more than just wine. Today's question comes from Taylor Babineau. They ask, have you gotten to see any of the new kickoff reps, and how have special teams looked overall?
It's fascinating to me because we're seeing, and I'm reluctant to get too into detail on it because I think this is something we aren't supposed to talk strategy and give anything away. And I think this is something where there'd probably be sensitivity because it's brand new.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go too deep into it, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they're doing that looks very, very different, and it's quiet at practice, so you can hear what they're saying on the field, and it's very detailed and strategic. Like Rizzi has clearly thought about everything. And like today they were working on how to like avoid penalties in specific situations on it. And the strategy in which to do that, I was kind of watching, I was like, wow, like that's really smart. So like, it seems like they are going to be very, very, very detailed on this. And, if my thought process is this is the guy that fought for the role, presented the role,
basically invented the role.
Yeah, like his strategy on it, I feel like should give the Saints an advantage early in the season because I feel like they should probably be out thinking a lot of people because they've been thinking about it the whole entire time. And I think early in the season there might be an advantage. I think very quickly whoever is doing it the best, the gap gets closed on them very quickly because everybody's going to be watching everybody stealing everything. But I think very early in the season, they might have a decent advantage on these.
Rizzi made a really good point, though, where he said he thinks there's going to be wide variance in different things teams try. And he said they've already tried 2 or 3 things that they tried for a while and scrapped once they watched it execute. So I think there's going to be a ton of detail on it because they're also doing some trial and error in it. But I think, they're paying so much attention to it. I mean, the one thing I think I can say that's not giving away too many secrets that I think is just going to be viewer friendly is they're always, when they're doing their full 11 on 11 drill, sometimes they only do a half field drill, but it's 2 returners and they work together like a second baseman and a shortstop. I mean, one of them calls it, the other one becomes the lead blocker. And I mean, I think that's what the play is going to look like around the league. And I think it's going to be people like Taysom Hill and Rashid Shaheed, or maybe a Mason Tipton if he makes the team, or the second string is usually like Jamal Williams and Jordan Mims, and I don't know if Alvin Kamara will get in that mix, but I think we're going to be seeing 2 guys that you want to see catch the ball, both getting an opportunity to catch the ball, and then one of them going and lead ball. I mean, I think it's going to be a fun play.
Yeah, no doubt. Like today they were working on like a middle return, and I just don't want to tell how they're blocking it and how they're defending it because it was really smart. It was really smart what they were doing. And those are the things that where it's like, F you, what are you doing? And like, we signed something and all that. I mean, there's things you can get away with and things you can't. So,
The way
somebody ran a clip of the Kansas City Chiefs quadruple pass. Did you see that clip yesterday?
No, I didn't.
Quadruple pass. I don't think they're going to use that one in a game. Bold prediction.
The way I feel about it, it's like a shaking a bottle right now. Just waiting for the cork to pop because it's gonna. When you have that amount of planning and thought put into it at this point, like you said, eventually they're gonna catch up with the skill. But boy, y'all better buckle up. Y'all better buckle up because it's gonna be out there. Well, that'll do it for this episode of NewOrleans.Football. For those who are members and watching this live, overtime is next. And for those who aren't signed up yet, you're missing out because if you sign up to NewOrleans.Football, you'll find out what Blake Groupie did today compared to what Charlie Smith did the other day and see who's winning that kicker battle.
We're selling them on the kicker battle.
That's right.
That's what we got?
Yeah, right
I
now.
mean, we got better stuff than just the kicker battle.
Oh, we do, but that matters to people.
That's your pitch. Like when you meet someone, you're like, yeah, I work for NewOrleans.Football. And they're like, oh, what's that? And you're like, oh, it's a subscription site. We track the kicker battle.
We track everything. We track the little details. We track the music at camp. We track everything. You look, they closed off the camp to the public for right now. You subscribe to NewOrleans.Football, you're in camp. The only thing you can't do is smell
That's
the
a better
grass.
pitch. That's a good
I'm
pitch.
just letting you know. I'm just letting you know.
That's a good pitch. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one. All right.
Overtime is next. Catch you next time.